And she said to me, that she said, we've just spent the last 7.5 hours removing blood clots from your left leg, your right leg, and your lower abdomen. She said at that point that they'd a worry and a concern over my left leg.
Right.
And within 15 minutes, that went from a worry, a concern to there will be an amputation.
I just, like, to sit there for a full week, mate, to know I'm going to have this amputated must have been torture in itself. My frustration is there'll be people, probably gone now, hopefully not, but there's people out there that taking that health went downhill, don't realise what's going on with their health, and then what happens is they've got no help at all.
Everybody sees that nobody's helping and supporting us, but the government are sitting going the old fucking fingers and ears and covering the eyes in the hope that we're going to go away, what they do with every fucking thing that they do. And this is not going to wait 10 years.
This SNP, current government's in power right now. I'm telling you right now, you're all losing your credibility. In my honest opinion, in the last 3 years, if it showed us anything at all, mate, it's going to show you your government doesn't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
And make the noise! Yeah!
What's happening, Mr. Mitchell?
What's happening? Not a lot yourself, mister. What?
I'm absolutely done in trying to get this thing set up, man. Honestly, I need a.
I've been here for 2 hours and I'm not tired at all.
I'm done in, mate. I'm done. When did we start setting this up? About
4 o'clock.
Nah, it's 6:15 now.
Aye.
Nah, 2 hours to try and get everything right. Anyway,
perfectionist, what can we say?
You sat in your arse.
You've
got a good excuse, to be fair. Anyway, right, so let's try this out. I don't know what to call this, the Bring the Noise podcast or something. And I just thought, you know what, I thought I would everybody's going around interviewing the vaccine injured, and I don't think anybody can really, anyone who interviews them, I think they can understand it firsthand.
I think they've got empathy, which is in a lot, because we've been interviewed and we've did podcasts with a lot of people, and a lot of people have got empathy, but I think you're right, it's only to a certain extent, we know exactly what other vaccine injured feel like, because we've been there. We know exactly the places that they visit and how hard that can be at times. That's a different type of, I don't know, there's just that knowing that somebody else has been through exactly what you've been through at the same time,
Well,
it helps.
I guess we all understand it for the point of view where every single day we regret taking that thing.
Yeah.
And that every single day eats away at me. If I could just turn back time and see what I see now, then, and I think all the vaccine injured, they all say the same thing, mate. Even like you're different from me. I've got the heart issues. Obviously, where I am now, people think I'm fine when I'm no fine at all.
But this is the problem. Is people can look fine.
I know.
Sitting looking at me right now, I look fine.
When it's neurological, mate.
This is the heart issues, the neurological issues, the gastro issues that we all suffer, the fatigue, all the
I've
the food intolerance.
I've still got the light sensitivity.
I've never had that,
and I'm still, even though I don't want to sit here with a pair of sunglasses on in the house because you need natural light. Do you know what I mean?
You do, but if it's hurting you, you go to what you know.
It's not really. It doesn't really hurt me. It's more of a, because of the black eye floaters and the dizziness. So between having your balance off, and then you've got the heart issues. My brain must be in complete and utter overdrive.
You think?
It's in total, was it fight and flight mode? I don't know what mode it's in. It's made up its own body mode, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I think you become either, that is, you find out you're either a fighter or you're a flighter. I think I found
Is that a word, flighter?
Aye.
Is that a word?
Yeah, fight or flight. I think I realised very early on as a young boy that I was a fighter, not a flighter.
Right.
So for me, to a certain extent, knowing that my automatic approach is to fight with it, that has made a massive difference for me because I can face it head on. Flight, I understand why people want to run pie for this.
Let's just do it like a podcast like everybody else does, right? Let's just, I'm just going to, because a lot of people like see Instagram and all that. They all see you're not on Instagram. You're not an Instagram kind of guy.
I'm not an Instagram guy. I'm not a TikTok guy.
But you should be.
I should be, but I'm too old for
to get the word out. You know, like although we've used is it Twitter, X, whatever it's been called now.
Yeah, it's called X now, but
we'll still call it Twitter.
I think I tried. Obviously, I only had Facebook. That was my main when all this kicked off. I had a Twitter account, but I think I had about 130 followers on it. You know, didn't use it for anything other than my mate sending me stuff on construction sites and funny
football things.
Football
That's
stuff
what I used it for.
You know, so I never really used it for anything. And when we started out, obviously, Facebook shut us down very quickly.
Did you do a post on Facebook?
Yeah.
And can you remember what your Facebook post was?
I can. I can actually go back and tell you that it said exactly what it says on my Twitter.
So,
on the 4th
see for anybody, see anybody that doesn't know your story. I know you're sick of saying it, right? Let's go back. Let's just go back to 2019, Alex Mitchell in 2019, right? Scaffolder, I know that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, 2019, I'd get married in 2018.
Congratulations. Commiserations to her.
Commiserations to myself. And at that point, I was in a band and I just literally just left the band in 2018. So 2019, I was kind of enjoying my weekends again because I'd spent...
You came in close, mate.
I spent a full...
Just bring it towards you.
A full year doing the sort of the gigs Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So...
What, in the tune?
All over. We played Falkirk. We did Falkirk, Kilmarnock, Paisley. We did a lot of Paisley and Linwood. Did a lot of gigs in Paisley and Linwood. Some cracking bars in Paisley. The Bungalow. They gave us our actual first real gig, I suppose. That was in 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
And the Cave. We played a lot of pubs in Paisley. Paisley's a cracking live music place.
Paolo
City. So I was kind of enjoying that, not being in a band again. So
this was 2019, right? So you're in the band, you're doing what you're doing, and then 2020 comes along, right? So what are you still working, or did you have to furlough and all that?
We did the first lockdown. I think the whole world shut down, the whole of Britain shut down in the first lockdown. But then, I'm not going to lie, I sat home and enjoyed it like everybody else because the weather was pretty bloody good.
One of the best summers. Right. I can remember it being one of the best summers.
So, but the only problem is you were stuck inside.
Aye.
But I had a garden to a certain extent, so I could sit in my back garden. So the majority of people, I enjoyed the first furlough, but after about 3 or 4 weeks, you're kind of hankering, can I go back to work?
Aye.
And then we came out the first lockdown, and then the vaccines were talked about. They were coming. We need to take these vaccines.
Were you scared of COVID?
No.
Or whatever it is?
I wasn't particularly scared of it. My experience at that point was my mum was in the last year of her life, and at the height of COVID, and because she was getting older and slightly infirm, we decided that for the best reasons, that we isolated her for a full year.
Mm-hmm.
And that went from a kind of sort of a supporting role to a full.
So you were probably like me then. You were like, the whole reason I took that bloody thing was because it was really to protect my mum.
Yeah.
And I was more scared because my mum had cancer at this point twice. So she'd beaten cancer twice. So when obviously, I mean, I don't mean that, but that, do you know what I mean? So I was scared
For your mum.
for my mum.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
And the lady down the stairs from my mum, they'd been neighbours for 20 odd years. Fell in a bathroom, broke her leg, and was taken to hospital and didn't come out. Died with COVID. So this was.
Did she die of COVID?
This was what they were told. You know, so that fear of old people, and if you go back to.
So this is the woman down the stair?
Yeah.
So did you know her? Like, did you know anyone of her family members? Were they like, oh, she's caught COVID or anything like that?
That was them that told us.
Did she catch it or did she just.
She went into hospital with a broken hip or a broken leg.
Right.
Caught COVID and didn't come back out.
Right.
So she caught COVID in the hospital. And at that point, if you go back to then, we were seeing people tramping in the streets on the TV, you know, and they were showing you bodies in the streets and things like that.
I remember the first one, like, I've never trusted the BBC, right? Never trusted it, right? Ever since the Savile nonsense and all that, and I think Hillsborough and all was another big thing, right? So the BBC was always one that I never trusted. So I always watched, like, I watched the STV, which is the Scottish news, right? I watched that was it. And I watched Channel 4. Now, I thought Channel 4 was actually good. I actually trusted them because they used to actually do decent documentaries, very against the grain, very sometimes went against the narrative, right? And I remember the first one I seen was this doctor who was in Italy, right? And I remember him saying the wards are full, we're running out of hospital beds. And the way my brain was going was, well, if that's Channel 4 saying it, then, you know, and I'm thinking to myself, Channel 4 at this point is quite reputable.
It wasn't just your BBC, your Channel 4 and your ITVs, you know, it was every station.
Yeah.
Sky was 24/7.
Didn't trust Sky either, to be fair.
You know, so it didn't matter which mainstream media version you watched, it was the same thing that came out of it.
Aye.
So we were all walking about with this, then, you know, they told us that we were possibly going into another lockdown.
Yeah.
We were given an exemption because we were classed as key workers, vital workers. Why? I'm a scaffolder, building scaffolding for brand new private housing. I don't see how that could possibly, but anyway, that's another story. And the workarounds that they put into place for the second lockdown were that bad that, you know, we got a time limit to put a scaffolding up. It's usually like a full working week to a certain extent, you know, from start to finish, from ground to completion, 4 sides. That was getting taken to 3-4 weeks. Where's the money in that? You know, for me, you know, because I was a paid employee, my company wasn't going to make money. Some of the nonsense that we were doing, you know, you were a joiner coming and asking me to move a hop up. So you come and ask me to move a hop up.
If you want, mate.
And I would tell you, right, okay, I'll need to wait 48 hours.
Aye.
And then 48 hours, I'd go and do the hop-up change, and then it'd wait another 48 hours for you to go back on it.
Is that because they thought the transmission?
It was deadly. You know, it stayed alive for a week on every surface and all this stuff.
Aye.
You know, so we went through all that fear. As I say, we lost my mum in the August, and then the vaccines came out, and you're looking and thinking, all these people that you're hearing dying. One of my best friends lost his wife.
Yep.
You know.
Well, one of the guys I know, his dad, like I say, very, very straight kind of Glaswegian guy. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't talk shite. He was in ICU. Do you know what I mean? And he's never been right since.
Yeah.
So, and there was another. Who else was it? There was somebody else I knew that was in a critical way with it as well. In fact, one of my mates, one of the boys I used to train with, his gran died of again, but do you know what I mean? It's one of the ones, because they did ramp up the numbers, we can't deny that.
Yeah.
You know, people were dying of other things, but they blamed it on this virus or whatever the hell it is. I keep saying that because I don't know what it is, because I can't trust if it was a virus or what. I definitely, at this point in time, I'm believing it was man-made or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
I think we could go down so many different roads with that. Where it's man-made or not, I think we'll leave that to the.
Well, like I say, mate, you're a scaffolder and I'm a joiner, so what do we know? But
yeah, and you know, so we went through.
I think there's no other way for us to think now because of the way we've been treated, and we can't trust anything. That's what I'm saying. Like, how can I trust what they've told us regarding this thing now?
We can't, because the last time we trusted them, look what happened to us.
Exactly.
And any time we go back to them and ask them, you say, look, this has happened to us. Can you help me? Can you support us?
Yep.
And you either get that deafening silence and tumbleweed. So we all went through that horrific period of 2020. It was a horrific year. Yep. And in 2020 came, the vaccines came out and they were supposed to be fantastic.
You'll get people who say, COVID, there's a lot of shit. We don't, like, at the end of the day, like I said, I knew people, and I tell you what, see if anyone tries to say, it's not real, go and face that man face to face. I guarantee he'll put you in his,
somebody
put you in the house, do you know what I mean?
Vaccine reactions don't exist.
Exactly.
That's the last thing you would say to somebody that's lost a loved one to this COVID virus or whatever it is, because it's something. Too many people died with it.
Again, they ramped up the numbers, we do know that. But I mean, I've got my own personal experience with it as well, and obviously I'll speak about that another time.
We know that it was the older people that was the numbers that were ramping up. But that, as you say, that's something else. We pick
it up another time.
So that takes us into sort of a 21 in March. But it literally just came out of the second.
So when did you get the boy letter?
I got it at the beginning of March.
So in March 2021. So no, is that the letter you got?
Yeah.
Right. So when you get the letter, any hesitancy, I'll just like, just fucking get it out the way.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, well, this is not for me. This is for to protect the older people, because that's what they're saying. Protect the NHS, save lives, do the right thing. It was on TV screens it was on the overhead gantries.
I was on the motorway. I remember get your booster. That's what I remember.
So at that point you're thinking, right, the right thing to do is to protect our old people. I don't want anybody to lose their mum. I just lost my mum in August. We didn't want anybody else to get into. We didn't lose my mum to COVID. She died during the middle of COVID. My mum did.
And what about the funeral and that? Was it one of the funerals that you couldn't attend? Or?
There was family restrictions, but we were lucky at that point that it was 30.
Right.
Maximum 30. And we had 32 family members.
Was it one of the ones you had to sit a mile away from each other?
Kind of had to sort of sit. Families were sitting together, but
have you not seen that video? Fucking shocking. It's a funeral, and I think it's the husband or wife are sitting in the middle,
to sit beside,
and they move it, and then the guy comes through. No, like fuck off, mate. Like that is just.
They screwed the chairs to the flare after that. So we saw this going on, and we thought, do the right thing. Although I worked in construction. Not everybody in construction is younger than me, John. I'm an old bastard compared to most days. But there's older guys in construction, older scaffolders, older brickies. And some of these guys have health conditions, so that was part of the... Listen, you know what it's like when you work in a big building site. You get to know a lot of people. And they become pals.
Aye.
So you don't want
although you don't hear from them now, do you?
No, I don't hear from anybody now.
But...
we've seen all the hype in January, February and March. And I went along in the 20th of March and got...
So again, no hesitancy, nobody turning to you say you should think about this. You didn't see anything regarding anything at all.
There was
just
nothing.
In your normal bubble.
That very week, the UK government, Matt Hancock, the health secretary at the time, stated in Parliament, the AstraZeneca is 100% safe.
Is that after he winched his bird when he walked out?
That was before, I think it was. And we had people on the telly, government ministers telling you this was 100%. There's doctors on TV that specifically said this was 100% safe and effective. Yep. We know who they are. I'm quite happy to name them.
Aye, fucking go for it.
Sarah Kyatt.
Aye.
Dr. Hilary Jones.
Yep. Dr.
Schofield.
Schofield.
Holly Willoughby.
Where's that other one? The other one, what's his name? Dermot O'Leary.
Oh,
Like
Dermot
Stephen
O'Leary.
Bev Turner
Yes.
went on.
Yes, Dermot O'Leary.
And Bev Turner was trying to get a point across
do
that this
remember
is experimental, and he's just sitting there with his legs crossed, you know, and then you know the way he dismisses her, and you've got that other tool who's that one that's in Channel 5. He's always on a bike in London. Is that tube again?
Twinevine.
Aye, Jeremy Vine.
Aye.
He's sitting there with a ponytail at bloody 50-odd-year-old, looking like a tube. Do you know what I mean? And what they done to Bev Turner.
Oh, they're ridiculous.
Do you know what I mean? But
live on TV.
and that's what they do, right? See, I watched we'll get back to what you're saying.
Aye.
I watched an interview on Talk TV and they had these people on late at night, and they had young Nazarene who was on it, right?
Yeah.
Now, young Nazarene's sitting there, and you know, this is what they do. So they've got 2 interviewers there, and then they've got someone who's a professional next to her, and then what they've got then you've got her sitting there. Now she's starting to spout out facts, young Nazarene, and then this person who's behind her goes like that. Oh, you one of them, or you one of the I don't even know if they said anti-vaxxers or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And then you're sitting there, and this was only about, I want to say, 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, at that point in time, how can you even turn around and try and say this young girl? And that's what they try and do. So they're trying to like play 3 to make one look dumb. Do you know what I mean? They've got them all making faces and trying to make her look stupid. Where the young lassie's actually talking pure truth.
This is where we come up against, you know, all we've done is tell the truth about what happened to us.
Aye.
And what we're going through. And yet we get censored, we get labelled, we get abused.
Mm-hmm. So,
you know, so going back to...
You got the letter.
Go to the letter. Yeah. There was nothing round about February 21 coming out anywhere.
Yep.
Absolutely nothing.
When did they start giving people that vaccine? Was it January 2021?
21.
Right, okay.
Because the belief is that Dr. Stephen Wright, young Stephen, he was the first.
Okay.
He was the very first to die from the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Yeah.
And that was in January.
So they knew that, so that was before you?
Yeah. Oh, the story about it, they knew the last week in January and the first week in February there was clotting issues with AstraZeneca because the Danish health, Denmark.
Well, they knew even, I mean, I'm Pfizer, you're AstraZeneca, but they knew even in the trials.
They knew before the trials.
Brooke Jackson will say that all day, you know.
We know that the clotting issue, the DNA vector that AstraZeneca used to drive this thing caused clotting issues 20 years ago. We've got the report for 2006. You know, they never changed anything. What we now know as to what we knew then is a world of difference. Then they were telling us that this was 100% safe and effective and that, you know, everything was going to be okay. And with that, they got the notifications, I say, for the Denmark Health Authority last week in January, first week in February, notifying of between, I think it's 16 deaths. They were now fits. Because the symptoms that they all showed, that was only, and they raised it to all the health agencies throughout the world.
If you had seen Stephen Wright, Charlotte's husband, right? If you had seen that, would you have
questioned it?
Would you have been like, I'm not touching that? If they said that, oh, that's only one out of billions, would you have been like, don't know?
Well, the thing is, after this happened to me, they told me that was 1 in a million.
Aye.
That was very rare.
I was
the first in the world to survive it, which I am. I'm the first in the world to survive with the level of fit that I've got.
Aye.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that they knew that this was going to cause these issues before it was manufactured. But even if we go with when the vaccines were sent out, as I say, they knew in the last week in January, first week in February. They sent that information to the 11th of April. And I can tell you why it was 11th. I know why it was 11th of April, because that was the day I was amputated.
Right. So, you've got the letter.
Got the letter.
Go
along.
Do you know, I think it was a bit... See, when you were going to get it, right, did you know it was weird.
Oh, it was really weird.
Do you not think it was weird? Like, you went and it was like, I don't know where you got it. I got it in Edinburgh, right? But you went, it was sit next, then you moved up the chair. It literally, it was something, it was just weird.
I was taken to a sports centre.
Aye. And did you have to sit in a chair? And then,
just sat in a chair.
With that one, what did you get paper wise? Because I get like
I
get nothing. I get literally nothing.
I was told verbally, you may have a sore sight arm and experience cold flu-like symptoms for 40 hours. That was that.
I was the only one that questioned it out of my family, right? Honestly, I was the only one that questioned it because I had my mate Mick, as we all know, and there was one guy I played golf with, and he was saying things and all that, but it wasn't like ramming it down my throat, you know. He was just kind of very blasé with it, and oh god, the brain fog kicked in there. So see when I sat down with one of the nurses, I sat down with her and I went, I don't know if I want to take this. I went, I don't know. There's just something telling me not to take this. I don't know if I. And she sat down. Do you know what way she's like with the needle and she pulled his face, right? And she went, John, I know people that didn't believe in COVID, and I know people that didn't trust the vaccine. Do you know what happened to them? And I went, what? And she went, they caught COVID and now they're dead. And she went, if I was you, I wouldn't take that risk. So I'm sitting there. I think it took me a good 10 minutes anyway. And I can't remember what one it was that, you know, and, but I was very, very cautious with it. But anyway, you've taken it and...
Yeah, you know, I kind of looked at it that I was 56 at that point, scaffolder, no underlying health condition, in phenomenal physical shape.
Aye.
You know, so I wasn't doing this for me. And I wasn't doing it as if to get time away from work because it was done on a Saturday. So went, and as I say, I was verbally told you may experience this sore arms and sight area issues for a fortnight.
Same as
40 hours.
Might get a cold sweat or something like that.
And unduly, that's exactly what happened. I felt crappy for a couple of days. Went back to work on the Monday, and being Monday evening, was back to my normal cell. 12 days later, on the 1st of April, I'm at work, and I lifted a loading frame.
So see, all the way up to it, right? Went home, was fine. Next few days, fine. At work, absolutely fine. Right? Now, you know that causation doesn't mean correlation, carry on, right? Now, one of the things I'm very, very for is just because it didn't affect you straight away.
That doesn't mean it didn't happen.
It means that it can still happen.
Yeah.
And we've found, again, we'll go into this probably, I know, like there's people that were months later that got these side effects that are very, very common now. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing, because a lot of people, I'm coming across people with FND and all that, didn't happen. Oh no, I had my vaccine, but this happened 4 and 5 months later. And I'm like, well, what is the reason? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense to me how all these people seem to just think that because it didn't affect me straight away. You're a prime example. 12 days. 12 days, and then you went to work. No, you were in the house, weren't you?
No, I was working. I was at work.
Working,
and it was about 2:30 in the afternoon, and it was a Thursday. I'll never forget it. And I lifted what's called a loading bay frame. Now, as a scaffolder, you're supposed to lift up to 2 people. But if you know
good belly big boys.
So I lifted it and I put it into place, stepped back, and I actually thought I pulled my calf muscles. That's what it felt like. 2 of them. I just felt that pain.
That tightness.
Oh, Christ, I pulled my calf muscles.
Like cramp.
Exactly. It was just a horrible cramp. And my mate says, what do you want to do? I said, home. Get him, got a bath. That's what I did. Went home, lay in a bath.
Yeah.
Back into work on the Friday. The only reason I went to work on the Friday was because it was a half day.
Aye.
And I wasn't taking a half day off.
Friday, you don't tend to really graft. No, Friday's like unwind day, isn't it?
So, went into work, because it's a half day. And you know you're not going to, if you can, task yourself too hard on a Friday. So we went in, and about 10:30, I was struggling to walk 10 feet without getting into cramps. And I thought, I've really done myself damage.
So that was the next day. So you were still struggling with this cramping.
Aye, on the Friday, went home, and then Saturday was my daughter's birthday, and I phoned and I said,
I'm not well.
I'm not well.
So was it only the calf? Was it only
calf
the
muscles,
calf?
was it?
There was no other like fatigue.
Really,
or
on the Friday, I had a really sore back.
nothing looking back. You're like, I had on. No.
The only thing that was sore was my back, and I put it down to the fact I was walking funny because my calves were killing me. And I put, the one way your normal gait's out, so you've kind of hurt your back. But as it turns out, that was actually a side effect of the
vaccine,
the clots, clots that were out of my system, and got up on the Sunday and felt exhausted, like as if I'd run a marathon, but better than what I was. I ironed some clothes and literally unplugged the iron and put it on the ironing board and turned around and my legs gave way.
Just
collapsed.
Up the stair. No, I've seen your house, so I can vision this.
So I was upstairs, just at the hall, just at the bathroom, and I knew I was in trouble.
And what way? Like breathing? No breathing issues or anything like that?
I just went, no, don't.
Because you usually with clotting, it's like
warm.
Heart issues and that.
So warm.
I
could feel the cold sweat and I knew I was in trouble.
Frick.
So I just finished ironing my clothes and unplugged the iron and turned around and my legs gave way and I collapsed. And I don't know why and I don't know what made me, but something told me to stay calm. Something, I tried to stand up and my legs were like rubber.
Where was Michelle?
She was down the stair in the kitchen.
Did you shout her?
She couldn't hear me, so I had to pull myself head first down the stairs backwards, which caused a hell of a clatter. So by the time
So did you have to drag yourself down the stair and just dum?
Yeah.
Right. And you go down, landing
down, and when by the time I've hit the landing, Michelle's standing at the bottom of the stairs, or she's at the living room door, and she says, "What's going on? You okay?" And I said, "I need you to do two things. I need you to stay calm. Go and get my belt and phone me an ambulance."
Why the belt?
I don't know.
But would the belt have done anything?
Well, no, we now know.
Usually,
we now know. No, it didn't.
Usually a belt's to stop bleeding.
Well, yeah, but at that point, I could feel something in my left calf moving.
Right.
And I don't know.
Just too many John Wayne movies.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
I only know that because you've said it.
It was too many westerns, and I don't know why. I said grab the belt and tourniqueted myself, but clearly that didn't do any good. Got myself into the living room. I don't remember how I got to the living room.
Right.
And by the time I've got to the living room, I'm boiling.
Did you pass it?
I did. I passed it
in the house.
Times. In the house, aye.
And right, so you passed it. That was your last memory.
No, I've got vague memories of the ambulance or the paramedics arriving, and I'm on the living room floor, and he's trying to put an oxygen mask on one of these.
On your face.
On my face. But whatever was wrong with the mouthpiece kept coming off.
Right.
So I'm sucking in air.
Normal air.
And not getting anything.
Right.
And I started to hyperventilate. And I can remember saying to me, you need to breathe. And I do actually remember saying to him, I'm fucking trying to do, because you're panicking. And I knew myself, I could see that I could feel myself hyperventilating.
And how long was that? At what point did they say, right, we need to get him to hospital?
Well, this was them trying to get me stable.
Stable, just awake?
Just, they'd fired 2 morphine vials into me, one straight away. And they gave me the oxygen. Eventually we got that sorted. They got me onto a chair and took me outside. And I remember going out to the ambulance. And the last thing I remember in the ambulance is them giving me another morphine.
Was Michelle allowed to come with you at that point?
No.
So she had to...
Because it was still COVID restrictions.
And she had to stay in the house?
Yeah. So she had to stay in the house. She phoned obviously my 2 daughters and headed straight up to phoned the hospital. And the hospital told them, we will phone you as soon as we have news. But they headed up anyway. I arrived at Hare Myers Hospital and was rushed straight into a room where a doctor...
You were stable at this point?
In
and out?
In and out. I was kind of conscious, unconscious, slipping in and out.
Right.
Mostly due to the pain. The pain was horrific. and I came to, and there was a lady, and she's saying, we need to go for a CT scan. You need to sign this piece of paper. And I've signed a piece of paper.
Why sign a bit of paper?
I think it's a release for it. You've got to authorise it.
I don't have to sign in any time I've had this.
So
I don't know.
Went into this room, and I've came round, and I'm still in the room that I was in when I've passed out to a certain extent. And the same wee lady standing in front of me, and 9 hours have passed. And she said, we're literally just out the theatre. We spent 7.5 hours removing blood clots.
So you've woke up. Right, so did you go for the CT scan, pass out, and then you woke up?
Tell a lie. Went for a CT scan. That's what it was. Didn't need to give permission for the CT scan.
Right.
Came out of the CT scan, and she said, we need to go to theatre.
Now.
We need to go now.
Pronto.
You need to sign this.
And the CT scan was still spinning?
Still spinning.
And then they've been like, no.
So I come straight out of the CT scan, straight into an operating theatre.
Right.
At that point, I passed out.
You passed out, or they injected you?
I think a combination of both, to be honest with you.
Right.
And I've come back, when I've come round, it's the same wee room. I'm still, I don't know, 9 hours have passed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the same room, in the same bed, in the same wee room standing in front of me.
Mm-hmm. You just think you've closed your eyes and woke up?
To a certain extent, and she's saying, are you aware where you are, who you are? I said, well, I know who I am. I know I'm in a hospital, but I don't know which hospital. And at that point, they told me it was Hairmyres. And she said to me, she said, we've just spent the last 7.5 hours removing blood clots from your left leg, your right leg, and your lower abdomen. She said, I'm really pleased that your abdomen and your right leg look as if I've cleared them, but your left leg, I've got a worry. And that worry went from a worry to an amputation within 15 minutes.
Wait, hold on. So did they amputate you when you were sleeping?
No.
No.
They hadn't amputated at that point. They just cleared 7.5 hours, just clearing the clots.
Just clearing the clots. Woke up, she told you that.
And she said at that point that they'd a worry and a concern over my left leg.
Right.
And within 15 minutes, that went from a worry, a concern to there will be an amputation.
And then, they've... what are you thinking at that point? Well, at this point, did anybody know it was down to the vaccine, or was it just pure random?
Nobody knew. They didn't have any... I didn't know what was wrong with me. They didn't know what was wrong with me. And because I had no underlying health conditions, that made it harder for them. Because and at that point, I guess nobody asked the vaccine question at that point. If that's,
You wouldn't even think it.
Exactly. So
you wouldn't even question that at this point.
Then after that, they brought in the vascular surgeon who ultimately ended up doing the amputation, and he sat with me.
This is 15 minutes once.
Yeah, they brought him in, and he explained that it was likely to be an above the knee. And at that point, I said, "Can I get 15 minutes?"
Mm-hmm.
I just needed that, everybody out, for me just to sit and take into my head.
Couldn't have been real. You just must have been like, this isn't real.
No, it wasn't, because there was thousands of thoughts going through your head.
Yeah, you've just went for a guy working
to getting told
within,
you shouldn't be here. Because that was her first opening words to me when I opened my eyes to that consultant.
Am I dead?
No, she said to me, you shouldn't be here.
Uh-huh.
I said, what? She said, you really shouldn't be here, but we're so happy you are. We don't know why you're here.
Do you still see her?
Yeah, I've actually got a consultation with her at the end of this month.
Yeah.
It's a follow-up from the recent sort of operation that I had to go through. And as I say, she said, we spent 7.5 hours, and they didn't have a clue at that point. They brought this vascular surgeon, and I call him my doc, for Back for the Future, Doc Brown. He's actually back home in Switzerland, as far as I've been told. He's got the wild hair and the eyes, and obviously with the accent, he didn't get, because the first thing I asked him when he told me that I was going to get...
Where's he from?
Switzerland.
Right, okay.
He's of Swiss-French descent. His name is Mr. Phil Gabou. A wonderful, wonderful vascular surgeon. And he asked me, basically when I said to him, "Will a prosthetic hold the weight of a scooter?"
Mm-hmm.
He hadn't a clue what I was talking about, and so I explained to him I was an old mod,
Yeah.
and he still hadn't a clue what I was talking about because the whole mod
I didn't
thing,
even know what a mod was until I met you.
Yeah, so it's not everybody knows what it is. So to get my phone and show him pictures of me, Facebook and scooter rallies and things, my scooters, and he got it, and he said, "I don't know. I'll ask you a question." And I asked at that point if there was any hope of it being a below the knee, and he said, "There's always hope."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "I'll take it." And he looked at me and I said, "No, you said there was always hope, so what's the hope?" And I asked for a week and hoped there would be some sort of a miracle from below the knee, that I could get in a below the knee operation, because there was no argument there was going to be an amputation. There had to be.
And so they've said you're going to need to get amputated, but they couldn't do it straight away because you were that weak. But you said we'll give you a week to think about it. But
I thought I was getting a week because I asked for it. But the reality was I was getting a week because
you're too weak.
I was too weak. They knew I wasn't strong enough. I just survived 7.5 hours of surgery that I wasn't expected to survive. It's unlikely I was going to survive an amputation on top of that immediately. So I was put in isolation for a full week.
Mm-hmm.
That week, that was a week that you find out so much about yourself when you have to face the worst things that you could possibly face, including not opening your eyes again.
What do you say?
There's not a lot you can say.
No, I mean, I will say this, right? You're one of the strongest bastards I know, right? And I will say that, like, how you wake up every day looking down and there's a leg missing. And I just, like, to sit there for a full week, mate, to know I'm going to have this amputated must have been torture in itself.
Yeah, the psychological effects of
I'd imagine you prayed and you were kind of hoping that this would be saved.
You hope for everything, don't you? And you'll clutch onto the slightest possibility of a possible outcome. And unfortunately, with hindsight, looking back on that week, because I spent it in isolation, so I watched what was coming to a certain extent, because obviously at first your leg looks normal. It doesn't after a week.
Was it starting to...
Oh, it was horrific.
What were you looking down? It just wasn't coloured? It was black and blue, like what?
No, it was dying.
Where's that?
It was dead. Yeah.
What was it doing to kind of keep it awake, if that makes sense, for as long as it could?
Do. The hope was that they were basically trying to stave the clots moving further up.
And was there like pain?
Oh yeah.
Pain for that full week?
I've never had pain like that in my life.
And was it to the point that I'll just fucking chop it off?
Yeah.
Because it was that bad?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even think of that, Alex. Like how you've had to sit there for a full week and that leg's dying away.
And that's causing you pain.
That's fucking...
By the end of the week, they had me on morphine. And from the minute I went in to the day I was amputated, I think the day after I was amputated, I come off the morphine myself. So that was 8 days. I went through 1.5 litres of morphine.
After the amputation? No.
In that week.
In the week of that? You got to remember the brain fog.
Yeah, in the week. So from being told, you've got a week to hope that it's going to be above the knee, below the knee. The pain levels slowly rose. And obviously they put me on morphine. And that worked until the day of the operation, which was meant to be the Saturday, the 10th of April, if I remember right. But at that point, my pain levels started to really go through the roof. Mm-hmm. They weren't measuring them 1 to 10, it was 1 to 20. Where are we? And I was at 18. I think I hit 19, and that's the closest I can honestly say I've ever came to lose my sanity. Pain like that, constant, was horrific.
And you're on the morphine or not?
And you're on the morphine.
And are you on any other meds as well? Just purely morphine?
At that point, I was on morphine, and I think they gave me plasma and hemoglobin. If I remember right when I look back in the records. So the lead up to the week, my pain levels on the Friday into the Saturday went from sort of a 14 right up to 18, 19. And yeah, you know, so they brought an anaesthetist in, and he said, "We've got
Couldn't
this."
even say that.
I know.
Took me long enough to say the POTS, mate.
It took me long enough to say thrombotic thrombothemia.
I know, man.
Shows you.
Postural orthostatic tachycardia.
Yeah.
I say it every time I get the opportunity, 'cause it took me about a month to say it.
Well, it took me 3 weeks to learn how to say vaccine-induced thrombotic thrombopenia. And they brought the anaesthetist in, and he said, "I've got this new thing that's quite new. None of my students have seen it, and it's called a nerve inhibitor." And basically explained that he would put this thing on the nerve, and it would shut the pain down.
Yeah.
But nobody had ever seen this before, and it could show his students it. And I said, "Of course you can." And then at that point, I was in a room. The curtains got closed, the door opened, and then came a trolley, a TV, an ultrasound machine, and about 15 people, all piled into this wee room.
All students?
Yeah, all students. And then he explained to me, "I'm going to put the needle through your buttock to get to the nerve, and you're going to watch it on the TV screen."
Fuck that.
Yeah.
And this is you still get your leg, and it's
Yeah.
just to get rid of the pain.
Yeah, just to get rid of the pain. So they've pushed the bed up, I guess.
Maybe we should do a podcast like that.
Honestly, this is great because I never get the opportunity really to tell these
Aye,
wee
go in
things,
depth,
you
aye.
know. And so, as I say, the bed's be pushed up, the curtains drawn, all this equipment's come in, all these people filed in, and he then said, "Right, see that TV screen? Watch that." And I went, "What?" He says, "You're going to have to lie on your side." So I'm lying on my side, and there's 15 people with me in my suit. So they're all looking at my ass while he's putting this needle that size, you know, into it. And it comes up.
Kind of like, what's it, women get epidurals?
It's similar. It's a similar idea. I think that's where the concept.
They go into the spine.
Well, this goes into the nerve. You actually see.
This is brand new, so
Yeah,
you're
this is
taking a
novel.
risk.
Yeah, no, I think it's been done before, but not a lot of people get it
Right.
to a certain extent. And he wanted to do it and show it. So and you see this white thin line going along the black screen, and he says, "See that little cluster you see there in the middle of the screen? That's your nerve ending. That's what I'm aiming for." And I don't know whether it's a combination of the pain or whatever, but I didn't feel any of this.
Yeah.
You know, it was uncomfortable, but I didn't really feel it. But I'm watching this, and you know, and he goes up and he just touches it. He just touches the.
That blood?
No, I don't know what I've done.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. You want me to get a hanky on it?
No, I'm just about blood on your warrant.
It's dead white in here.
So he just touches it, and
You bring a mic, come
and
up.
it was like the pulse lighters. They used to get shocks off you.
Aye,
Well, that's what it was like,
aye.
and it was all my whole body. And I went, "Oh Jesus!" And he went, "Yeah." He said, "Right, how does it feel now?" And I said, "What?" He said, "Where's your pain levels?" And I went from 18, 19 down to 5 straight away.
Seriously?
And then 2 seconds later, maybe 10, 15 seconds later, he said, "Where are we now?" And I said, "It's gone."
Oh, really?
My pain went.
How many days was that you were in pure pain?
6.
6 days.
6.
God, he should have came to you in day 2, man. He left
Yeah.
you, and then the next day you're getting your amputation.
And he took a blood test, and thank God he did,
Right.
because the operation was due to go ahead on the Saturday. And on the Saturday, just as the
This is
operation...
a Friday.
Sorry, he did
This magic thing.
thing
whatever.
on the Friday. So this is now the Saturday, the day of the operation.
Right.
And the pain levels are starting to climb. This thing's come out. It's meant to work. Some of us have moved, and it's moved it. And I'm hoping they're going to do it again. And at that point, he said, "I can't." And I said, "How not?" He said, because the amount of morphine and everything else you have had, he said, we're going to go, your operation's coming shortly, so there's no point going through all of this. We'll manage you with morphine and things like that. And I'm trying to think what happened after that. Yeah, they went away to set up 5 minutes before I'm due to go and get amputated. He comes in and says the operation's been stopped.
Right.
There's a problem.
Right.
He found an anomaly in my blood.
Don't even know what that is, but anyway.
An anomaly is just something that shouldn't be there, and they set up in my blood. And the 8 pints of blood that they had to scrap them.
The blood they took out?
The blood that they were going to use for the amputation.
Oh, really?
Because if they'd have used it, it'd have killed me.
Right.
They manufactured 8 pints of blood in 7 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know they could do that.
What do you manufacture?
They made up blood with this component in my blood, and it took them 7 hours.
Right, that's mental.
Yeah. That one always blew my head.
Never heard that
You're
before.
going to make blood up to match my blood. And we have to, because if we operate and put that blood in you, it'll kill you.
Right.
Because obviously that's different from your blood, whatever this anomaly was. And he gave me more morphine, and then the operation was organised to go ahead. But I had to wait 5-6 hours for it. Because I was meant to go early in the morning, and I was still sitting there about 4:30 at night.
What's did Michelle get to come visit? I take it.
No, I was
the whole 7 days.
I was kept in isolation for the full 7 days.
You were stuck in that.
I was in a ward myself.
Your whole self. You didn't get your kids. You didn't get the missus. You didn't get anyone at all.
No.
Fuck me.
But the day, I says to them that
that must have been fucking trauma in itself.
Yeah.
All you need is a cuddle at that point, really, isn't it?
Well, I says to them, I said, look, I've already said goodbye to my family once. I'm not doing it again. Over a phone. I'm not doing it again. And so, what do you mean? I said, you find a way, me seeing my wife, my 2 daughters. I don't want to touch them, I just want to see them.
What do you see looking back? Do you think that's out of order that they done any? You could have died.
Yeah.
Do you not think that's fucking out of order?
Yeah, because we now know that I was in isolation for something I didn't need to be.
You had the vaccine that was supposed to protect you for the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Surely they would be like, oh, well, he's vaccinated.
Yeah.
That's
So I was
beyond
kept
nuts.
in isolation for a week. And as I say, I says to them, I said, I've said goodbye to my family once over a telephone. I'm not doing it again.
Mm-hmm. You better fucking save me.
Well, we managed miraculously for Michelle to appear at a door.
What, did she just decide to?
No, because I had says to them, I wasn't going into the operating theatre until I said goodbye to my wife and 2 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not out of a telephone call. How it was arranged and how it was done, I don't know. But Michelle managed to appear at the room I was in door, and my 2 daughters were allowed to see me from a corridor room. Yeah. You know, like a corridor where basically I'm on my way to the operating theatre, just before I'm going into the theatre, in the corridor, that's where I met my 2 daughters. And did the thing that you never want to do, and say cheerio to your wife and 2 daughters, because you don't think you're coming at it.
You must have been a pure mess, mate.
Aye, people say, how do you deal with it? You don't get time to deal with it. What was the chances of surviving, if you want to call it? Did they tell you a survival rate of that operation, or did they say it was straightforward? Because I'd imagine this was a total baffled. I take it they were all baffled. I mean, was it after the amputation? I've probably said this already, but after the amputation, realised it was the vaccine, or before? It was starting to be suspected before.
Really?
Because obviously that week that I was in isolation, the only thing that was different in my life, because lots of questions were asked, the only thing that came out was the vaccine. Mm-hmm. That was the only thing.
But that was 12 days ago.
Aye.
So why? Do you know what I mean?
That's the only thing that had been different in the last 6 weeks.
Because you always say it ain't different in 6 weeks.
And that was only different. The only thing that, and it, by the way, it didn't come to my head straight away either.
They asked.
you know, it was them that said, that, was there anything in the last 6 weeks that could cause this? And through everything, I went, no, I think it's nothing's the COVID vaccine. And they went, right. And then a couple of days later, they went, I think you might be right. And then it was further on, you know. What did they say? Christ, well, when I'd collapsed the week before, they were basically told there was no hope. They took Michelle and my 2 daughters into a room and said, we have got no hope.
They did?
Yeah.
They said that, and obviously because you couldn't get to speak to them.
We've got
I take it they took were they in different rooms, or they had to keep you isolated? Cause
kept me isolated.
Yeah, okay.
So they were taken into a separate room and basically told, we have got no hope, we've never seen anything like this. If he does survive, which is highly unlikely, it'll be for the waist up.
Both legs?
Aye.
So you were getting into that operation thinking possibly both legs?
That was before the amputation. That was when I first collapsed.
Yeah, right, okay.
Because obviously it was in both legs at that point. So, and as I say, that's how after 7.5 hours of getting clots removed, the consultant says to me, you shouldn't be here. We don't know why you're here. Here you are, and hope you stay. You're right, you don't get a chance to process any of that because everything's gone too fast.
So obviously you've went in, you've said goodbye to the Waynes, you've said goodbye to Michelle through a door. Yeah.
And didn't think I was going to open my eyes.
But then you did.
I did.
Thank fuck you did, mate, because I don't know what I would do with you, to be honest. I bet you could say the same thing.
Nah, I don't know what to do with you, mate. The last year has been so much easier in many ways, because you remember I've been doing this for a year myself. Screaming at the top of my lungs on social media and getting nowhere.
You come out the operation.
Yeah.
Everything's all hunky-dory, right?
Well, yeah.
To the best of your ability, right? What is first thing you wake up, you look down, anger, like what shock?
Well, the honest answer is that obviously I've still got this thing in my head about it being a below the knee operation. Everything's going to work out fine. You know, I'll just get a below the knee. I'll be able to be. John, I had it in my head I'd be back scaffolding within 6 months because a below the knee. You know,
I've seen construction.
I can do it.
I've seen construction workers that have got the hook.
Yeah, because it's with the knee, it's if you've got a knee,
a ball joint,
that makes a massive difference. So below the knee, so I've got it in my head that that's what they try and get below the knee, and the reality is that the operation, I was told, if it was an above the knee amputation, it would take an hour and a half. If it was a below the knee amputation, it would take about 2.5 hours. And as soon as what woke me up coming out of the operating theatre was the operating theatre doors hitting my bed.
Right.
That's what brought me out the anaesthetic.
Oh, really?
Coming out this, and the first thing I've done is lifted the covers, and it was an above the knee amputation. And I'm not going to lie, that was the darkest, coldest, hardest moment. That's when I could have just switched off. That was my darkest moment. And at that point, a nurse appeared, and it says to her that I noticed that the dressing had come off. I've never been amputated before. I don't know if that's normal, not normal. And when I says to her, I says, is this normal? And she said, no, we'll get that redressed. And at that point, the vascular surgeon joined me, and he was absolutely devastated, I'm not going to lie. He came in, he took his glasses off, rubbed his eyes, put his hands through his hair and said, I am so sorry. And I said, it's not your fault, what are you sorry for? You did the best you possibly could, you know. And that told me how much he cared. That he knew that it meant that much to me.
So you that's the thing. You've had a really good experience with the NHS, where I've had a terrible terrible experience.
And I tell the NHS that every time I'm up there.
Aye.
You know,
Don't get me wrong, I believe that there's good... The NHS have done good things for me in the past and my mother.
Yeah.
But
it
seems to be
COVID vaccine.
It seems to be this subject.
These vaccines, it's just the only thing that seems to divide. You know, even in the hospital at that time, everybody was shaking his vaccine.
So wait,
you know that.
So you've came out here. He's sat there, right? So when was it dead in the water that was a vaccine?
The day after my amputation.
The day after?
It was dead in the water. This was 100% the vaccine.
How did they know?
Because they sent away they told me before it, in the week before it, obviously, I was getting my bloods taken every hour at one point, and then every 3 hours, then it was every 6 hours. I was just it was some amount of blood was getting taken out of me. Sorry, where was I going with that?
Oh God, I've got brain fog and all. They're taking blood out of you.
So obviously in the lead up to then, all the questions we were getting asked.
Yeah,
this, that,
if it was a vaccine.
And it came down to could be the vaccine, so they looked at that. And in that week they said, we're pretty sure this is vaccine related. And the day after my amputation, one of the vascular surgeons came in and says to me, this is vaccine related. There's one final test result, and as soon as we've got the results of that'll confirm it beyond any shadow of a doubt, but we already know that this is where we're going with it. And obviously that test was the platelet 4 factor, PF factor 4.
What are the doctors thinking? Did you speak to any of these doctors about this? Like, what is their take on, like, you must see these doctors now. What's their take on this vaccine? Do you know? Do they not discuss it?
They don't discuss it. Because if they do, it's their jobs, isn't it? Because they're still NHS. Don't get me wrong. It's never been in doubt with regards to the haematology task force team. They have been honest 100% behind the vaccine injured. As has my vascular consultant. But you're right, I am so rare in that sense, because we now know we know so many people that went to the NHS and pleaded, help me, and get told it was all in their head.
Yep.
I was lucky that I didn't, but I think that's more to do with the fact that they didn't have anywhere else to go. I had no underlying health conditions. I was supremely fit and healthy. Yeah, I was a cannabis smoker and a smoker.
And they try to blame that.
Yeah, but they're going to have to prove that that's impossible.
Well, cannabis is, I think the things we all know about cannabis now and THC, the things that can do to heal people.
Yeah, well, I've never had that fact that, I've always been a recreational cannabis smoker, and I wasn't going to change that for anyone. And I did say to, and their answer was, well, we can't tell you not to. I went, no, you bloody can't, because you just gave me something that nearly killed me. You
had one doctor that tried to, is it gaslighting?
I had one, that was the when I'd come round.
The boss?
Yeah, the lady that has just performed 7.5 hours on moving clots from my system is explaining to me, you're a supremely fit, healthy human being. And she's kind of telling me, it's not my lifestyle, it's choice, so they don't know what it is. And at that, this other individual walks in the white coat, and he's listened to Miss Montgomery for a couple of minutes, and she's finished, and he said, so, what do you think it is? This is what he says to me.
He said to you?
He says to me. And I said...
Ask Affolder?
Yeah, and I've said,
fucking hell.
I've been honest and admitted that I'm a smoker, and I'm a regular cannabis smoker. And I didn't get any further, and his answer, he's automatically said, his instant response was, that's what it'll be then.
See what you're saying?
The scaffolder in me came out at that point. I'm not going to lie. I said to him, you really want to help me? And he went, yeah. I said, we'll get the fuck out of the room. And he went, what? I said, because I'm starting to get really fucking angry. And if I get out of this bed and I get hold of you, I'm going to punch you up and down this hospital, so get the fuck out of this hospital room. And when I said that, and I says to Miss Montgomery, I do apologise for my language. I said, but who was he? She said, that was my boss. And he automatically went that this was to do with my smoking,
I think
it's cannabis.
I think what's ridiculous is the fact that he's done it. What do you think? And do you know, they've done that to me.
Yeah, what do you
and they'll try and blame everything. Do you suffer from anxiety? Have you got PTSD? Anything in your family? They'll do anything to try and take away the fact that it could be that vaccine.
Yeah.
And that in itself, you're lucky you got the man that you did, because that guy, he would have done anything but...
Well, what was really, he was one of 3 vascular surgeons or vascular consultants that were running in my ward. There's only 6 people in the ward. He had to come into that ward every day and pass me. Now, Bernard, I've just told him to get out the room. I was going to punch him up and down the place. My bed was the first bed as you walked in the room. You've never seen a man slide round a ward with his back to the wall so much in all your life.
I bet.
To the point that a couple of days later, they were going to take my morphine off. This was the day of my amputation. And I said no. And I was getting into some kind of argument with the nurse. And he came over and said, if Mr. Mitchell wants another couple of days off, let him have it. Because he knew not to argue with me. I was actually outside having a fresh air break. Did I tell you about the time I ran away? I didn't run away.
You told me that...
I went missing.
You didn't tell me you went missing. You told me you tried to get out the door for fresh air.
Well, I did go out the door for fresh air.
Aye.
But what happened was... This was... remind me to tell you about the story about the teaching me the wheelchair. So this chap's bolted out the room, and I've said to her, who was he? Sat with my boss, and I said, I apologise. And even when I sit and think back on it, that's the only time I really I felt as if you're just trying to palm me off and label me something that doesn't suit your narrative, and I'm not prepared to take it. He's passed me a couple of times because I've still go up to Herne Myers quite a lot. He very politely nods at me, and that's about as much as he does. Because where can you go now? Because the stupid lay people like me and you have now been proved to be 100% right.
You know, I will say this, right, and we'll get back on to, right, because there's hundreds, we could sit and talk for hours, days, right? Do you know that the vaccine injured that contact me have said, John, you've told me more than what a bloody doctor has, and I'm not just making that up. They says, don't get me wrong, mate, I don't know in whatever level they know, but see the stuff I know to try and get better. Why am I doing it?
Exactly.
When there's doctors that should be doing this.
I'll tell you what makes me...
I'm not just making that up, by the way.
I know you're not making it up because I've actually heard you talking. It's funny because people come and say to me, well, your knowledge of it's incredible. And I'm going, well, I have to, because it's the only thing that I can actually do to try and help is find out what I know about this to understand it a bit better. I'm not saying I was the sharpest tool in the box, but I was never the dullest either. You know, I wasn't always a scaffolder, I was a business manager, so I kind of had a bit of some kind of brain at some point before the scaffolding knocked it at me. But I've heard people like yourself, including yourself, people at Adam, people at Ruth, vaccine injured, ordinary people talking medically to a level that even professors struggle to understand. When did it get to that stage that we've got effectively the tail wagging the dog?
I mean, it's just ridiculous, mate. And this is what I'm saying. Like,
you know, the best example was the fact that, you know, POTS.
Yeah.
You say the full name of POTS.
Postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Something I shouldn't be able to say.
Exactly.
As a joiner.
You're a joiner.
Exactly. And when I used to go in and you know, we can do this reversal, by the way. You can interview me one day. But when I was sitting there saying to the doctors, I know for a fact that you would only see one POTS patient every 1.5 to 2 years. I know for a fact that you guys are seeing up to 10 POTS patient a month. And I says, I know for a fact that it was mainly in women after complications and after pregnancy. And they're just like, how do you know this? And I'm like, because I know the facts. Because I've tried to do everything I can to try and get better.
I've never lived it. I'm dealing with people that are living it
exactly
the same way, and we've all got the same experience, and we all get to the same place. So therefore, you have to learn, because use people aren't helping us. And that you know, they don't like it.
So we would talk for hours, right? So you've came out when they've acknowledged it's the vaccine. You're totally like, what the fuck?
Aye.
Right? So, obviously that's happened, right? Now that paper gets involved. How did that paper hear your story?
Come about?
Right, so how many days, how long was that after?
I came out of the hospital on the Wednesday, and that was the Friday.
You came out of the surgery, you came out of hospital?
I came out of hospital 8 days after being amputated.
Seriously?
Aye.
Wow. Was it that plain sailing, were you in and out constantly, or was it just...
Oh no, it's not so much... with most amputees, there's serious underlying health, other issues. Sometimes it's road traffic accidents, motorbike accidents, so there's lots of other issues that come into it. With me, it was just this in my blood and in my leg, if that makes any sense. So therefore, I should heal quicker. And I did it. And I've always been a fast healer, plus the fact, you know me, I tend not to take no for an answer if I've decided I want to do something. Bit like yourself, I've noticed. And for me, it was, no, I need to do this for me.
If we didn't have that in us, if we didn't take no for an answer, I wouldn't have got an answer.
Aye, we wouldn't be here. That's the bottom line.
I might still be in my bed.
Aye.
I might be dead.
So I was released 8 days after I was amputated, and I got home, and while I was in the hospital, obviously during that time, lots of mates on the scooter scene were all back and forward messages and things like that. And one of them, a really good mate, got in touch and said, "Do you remember?" And said the photographer's name. I said, "Yeah, it was the guy that took photos of us." This was a photographer that took photos of us as mods on their scooters down at Ayr Beach 7 years before. And a couple of the boys had kept in touch with him. And one of them had said to him what had happened. And he said, "Well, tell Alec I'll come and do some pictures, and we'll see if we can get it stored into the paper, raise awareness about what's happening."
He worked for this paper?
No, he's an independent photographer.
Right, okay.
A freelance.
Okay.
So he's got connections. And he come back and he said, "Sunday Post is interested in doing your story." I went, "Fantastic. This is about raising awareness, letting other people know what's happening.
This could possibly happen.
This is happening." And the reporter phoned me. Andrew came and took all the pictures at home. It was carnage, but that's the photo you see me on my scooter. He took that, and he said, "Well, we'll see what we can do." And within a week, it was in the Sunday Post. And unfortunately, as we saw, 1 in a million, inspirational amputee, urges everybody to get the vaccine.
Did they interview you?
The TV interview, tele interview over the phone.
So they've seen your picture, they've got in contact.
Yeah.
What kind of questions were they asking?
Basically the full story, which I told them.
What happened? What happened? And all that.
The timeline, what happened, getting the vaccine, what happened, the timeline, where we are now, and the fact that we're now out there trying to get help and support, and that this was now vaccine. I wasn't medically confirmed at that point. I didn't have it in writing, but I'd been told verbally, this is vaccine related, because I'm now out of the hospital. And yeah, I'm not going to lie. When I saw that, my heart fucking broke. I sat and cried.
Saying that you...
I sat and cried. And I don't cry. I'm a big...
So some people have said to me, like, why has Alex never went to them and challenged it or anything like that. Like,
is that going to pull it for them? Are they going to go and get every single copy and erase it for everybody's memory?
at the end of the day, it's the mainstream media. They can do what they want.
And it's going to cost me an awful lot of fucking money that I don't have.
And it's caused you hassle. Fucking, you've just, that's what I said, because I remember those bloody Twitter spaces, and somebody was trying to argue, and I said to them, I was like, are you kidding me on? Like, the man's just had his leg amputated. A paper has came to him 8 days, 9 days, whatever after, right? He's thought, all right, if I tell other people my story, you know, it could prevent anyone from being in that situation, and they've obviously twisted your words and said that bullshit.
Yeah. A phone call was made as soon as I saw that. No, let's not kid ourselves. And I never fucking said that. It's in print now. That kind of attitude. I'll give you an update on that. A year to the day after that, the senior editor of the said newspaper contacted me and asked me if I'd be interested in doing a follow-up.
Doing a kind of counter.
And I ripped her apart. Verbally. I actually spoke to this woman for 45 minutes.
Same post? Same?
No.
A bigger one?
No, same newspaper.
Right.
But not just a reporter. This was the senior editor.
Right.
Who wanted to do a follow-up. Because obviously they've now spent a year getting lambasted by me for printing.
Yep. 1
in a million incidents. And I said, I'll never touch you again. And I'm telling you something, this private conversation that you and I have had, I will release it. If you attempt to put a single word of print in about me, I don't want anything to do with you. But we can sort this. You can put your side. I said, I put my side. There's an article called In This Together by a chap called Ian Davies. Go and look at it. It's all about it. It was done specifically for the Sunday Post and the mainstream media.
Yeah.
And obviously there was private communications, and I made it clear to her. I said to her, you print one thing about me, I'll release all these private messages.
Never.
You won't look good. She said, we don't need to be like that. I said, yes, I fucking do.
Because that's the thing, because like, you know, when people heard your story and then they would just go straight to the article, and I'm like that, you know, I'm sorry mate, but the mainstream media should have been all over your story. And when like that, hold on, and it's just like a car getting recalled, do you know what I mean? This man's had his leg amputated from AstraZeneca. This is, you know, we do know it's a lot more than they made out. Yeah,
I don't want anybody
in this position.
So,
but again, you're not a doctor either. No. So you're no, it's not your job to say, do you know what I mean?
It's funny because obviously, at that, you know, you come out of hospital and you're trying to raise awareness, and obviously the one opportunity. Now the Sunday Post is a big newspaper in Scotland. I grew up with the Sunday Post, so to me that was a big thing.
Never read it in my life, to be fair.
But you know, growing up, my mother always bought the Sunday Mail and the Sunday Post. So for me that was a big thing, getting into Sunday Post to raise awareness. Because I don't want one single person to go through a quarter of what I went through, John. Because I don't think they would survive it.
Well, you were told like you shouldn't be here. How you survive? I think you're one of the strongest individuals I've ever met, mate. And I think I'm very, very believe there's someone looking over us. To be honest with you, I'm over that now, and I think we are here for some weird reason. It's the worst reason ever known to man, but
yeah. Somebody said to me, I've never wished anybody what happened to you on anybody in this world. But if there's anybody in this world that this could happen to, that could deal with it, it's you. And that's a lovely thing to say. People say to me I'm strong, you know. Listen, that's a strong. That's a strength I've got. That I've got a great, strong mental attitude. But there's a downside to that as well. I'm the most driven, stubborn, awkward bastard. And it goes with it because I won't change. And I know what I'm like. You know, I set out not to be where we are just now. I went out because the reason I ended up on social media is because mainstream media did that to me.
See when you had your leg amputated, right? Obviously, you're like me. You probably were never a social media guy.
No.
And then all of a sudden, that article. When did you put a post on Twitter, and when did that just go boom?
Well, funny enough, that was done on April 21, and I took to Facebook and Twitter, and the post was pretty much the same, you know, because I was told that I was the first in the world to survive. This was extremely rare, and then within 2 weeks of finding out what the yellow card report was, and then finding out there was at that point 235 others out there. That was no fucking rare anymore in my book. And I decided that I wanted to try and find other people like me. That was the only jag that was causing seemed to be at that point was AstraZeneca. So I set out to find other people like me. Facebook was a waste of time, because I was doing, because I was posting stuff every day about how this was affecting not just me, other people.
Did you get the ban? Did you get the
from Facebook?
Facebook, aye. So do you've posted and then
I lost my original account.
So do you go? Because what happened with me was when I put my post out, it gained traction on Facebook, but then it got taken down, and then they restricted the account. I redone it because again, just like you, I was trying to say this could possibly happen. You know, I wish I never took this thing. I was hoping, you know, I could warn people to not be in my situation. And do you know what? There's many people that did see me and they've said, "Thank God, John, I did see your story," because, you know, I didn't take, and especially with the information that's come out now, they're like that, you know, thank God. But and then it was Facebook, and then Instagram was the same when they shadow banned me and gave me a restrict. You know, it's mental. They talk about this cancel culture. Usually they talk about cancel culture with celebrities. I wouldn't think that two guys from Glasgow would ever be in that category for cancel culture, you know.
Mate, the things that two guys from Glasgow have ended up having to do, but being involved in what we've done over the last year and a bit is fucking mental when you think about it. You know, so I only had Facebook. Twitter I was using for nothing. You know, Facebook was my thing. You know, but I was putting stuff up every single day. You know, I was looking for people, health officials, reporters, newspapers, TV stations on Twitter, tagging them, trying to tell them a story, and I did that for 9 months, and I just felt as if I was standing on the edge of a fucking cliff, on the edge of a storm, screaming my lungs out, nobody was listening. And that went on for April to, I want to say, January, December. I can remember, I can tell you, and that was the tweet that's pinned to my profile, and that was on the 4th of April, I collapsed at home. That's the one that went, I don't know, there was no difference in my mind for that tweet than any tweet I'd put out previously about trying to raise awareness and get help.
But
it just went crazy. You know, I went from 134 followers till it's 10,000 in a weekend. I had to switch my phone off.
Because I remember when I remember, again, we could talk for days, you know what I mean, how I came across you, because I didn't even know your story. Do you know what I mean? I came across you in one
on Facebook.
I came across you in one of the Facebook groups, and obviously I was like, there's a guy for Glasgow. Didn't even know, I just knew you were for Glasgow. Didn't know you had a leg amputee. I just knew you were for Glasgow. So I was like, I need to speak to him, because I felt like I was the only person in Scotland. And then I told you about, obviously, Facebook and Instagram are shutting me down, and then you said put it on Twitter. And the exact same thing happened with me. I put I can't remember what it was either a post or a video, and as soon as it just went boof, it went crazy. It went from about, I don't know, 100 followers to like 5,000, 6,000 in a day or two, and I was like, oh, wow.
And obviously, you know, that was, I remember, you know, that first year, as I say, the January, was it? So that I'm coming up for my, late January, February. Me and you met, wasn't
it? Got it in my phone, mate. It was before I went down for Goldwick, so I'd say, I want to say March.
Late February.
No, it's April. That was the first time you came and visited me.
No, but we spoke for roughly around February.
Aye.
And then
I mean, you remember speaking to me, I couldn't even speak.
Christ, I remember actually saying to you.
I remember you just talking to me.
Aye. You don't need to talk.
Aye.
You listen, I'll speak. And it was just me trying to say, look, you feel as if you're not going through this alone anymore. You're not alone. You know, that it's no on your head, because that was the bit that really fucking got me more than anything. The amount of people that I was coming across at that point were saying, you know, I think I'm going off my head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the psych evaluations were getting mentioned.
Well, I went to the.
Well,
I went to a psych. I one of the nut houses because they were telling me, "Oh, everything's fine, John." I'm like, "No, it's not."
Yeah, that was the thing, and you know, after nearly a year of screaming, try to get help and support, and feel as if nobody's listening to you, to suddenly see, listen, there's another guy,
mm-hmm.
and that was what I was getting so fucking angry, and I was calling everything.
Because it's just like, I was the exact same when I was getting people that were messaging me, seeing me, and went, I'm done in for it, and you're just like, are people still taking this? Do you know what I mean? And that's why I remember you probably don't even know that, but the first podcast I done with it was a guy on YouTube. His name's Steve Wraith, and I done his podcast. I came on and I was just swearing left, right, and centre. Alex, like I was like you, I was screaming. Screaming, just to basically saying, "Don't touch this thing."
Because you're so angry.
Because I was getting sick of hearing it constant, and that's what I was trying to do, and I was just, that's what, you know, I say all the time, bring the noise, and I was like, these bastards want me to really die in silence.
Yeah. Well, their hope for us is that we just disappeared and died. And that was our first mistake. Or our third mistake.
If they just looked after us.
Well, that comes down to, if we get proper help and support tomorrow, I'll always have something to fucking moan about, if that makes any sense. Because I think you've got a chance of getting your full life back and your full health back. And I can't understand why they're not doing everything under this fucking sun to ensure that happens for everybody. Not just you, for everybody that's been vaccine injured and bereaved. We've been put in a place that's never been there before. We were put out, ordinary people have been put up on a pedestal with the government for them to fucking target practice that is. I've been called everything. I've been called a liar.
Yep.
A grifter.
Yep.
A conspiracy theorist.
Yep.
An anti-vaxxer.
Yep. Show. Is that a show?
A show.
I didn't even know these words. Grafter.
Yeah. You know, I can tell you I haven't made any money out of this.
Apart from the money you were given for the government.
Yeah.
Which was bullshit in
it's
itself.
It's an absolute insult.
Yep.
Under any circumstances, for anybody that's had anything amputated, for them to give you £120,000 and think that that's going to sort you for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Do I need money? Of course I need money. I need money to live. I need money to survive, and I need money to have a life. But this is not about the money. This is about justice. Yep. This is about what's right. This is about sorting things. You know, the only answer to this is not to start again and rip everything up. There's a lot of the systems, there's nothing wrong with them. It's the people that's fucking using them.
But it's just, the thing is as well, mate, to just go off track a wee bit, like, I don't know about you, but my world is not the same. And what I mean by that is, when you see this regarding the vaccine, you can't unsee the rest of the madness that is going on. And do you know what? The worst thing about it is, it's in plain sight. and people that don't want to even question it or even look into it, they're fucking stupid.
No, no. Some of them are. Some of them are.
That's mainly aimed at the doctors at this point.
Aye.
The doctors
There's
that are trying to say this thing's still safe.
Aye, there's a lot of people walking about thinking in this world is rosy and everything's fine, and that newspapers tell the news and governments govern people and look after people. Why should... Part of me wants to be one of them. I'd like to be that fucking innocent. Instead of knowing the shit that we know. That these people will do anything to earn a penny. They'll do anything to you and your family and not give a flying fuck.
Yep.
That's the one thing that's came blatantly obvious. There's not a politician interested in you and I.
Speaking of politicians, we'll wrap this up soon because we'd be talking all night. Like I say, mate, the book will be phenomenal. 100%. I've said it for day one, man. We definitely need to do some sort of a book, single, and then a joint book, how we came together, because I say I'm not going anywhere, you're not going anywhere until justice is served. 100%. Regarding politicians, and again, we could speak about this all day, what do you think? You know, I'm hearing this a lot now in the last week. I've especially heard about it. I hear this phrase as Scotland is politically homeless now, because nobody, I think that goes for the UK and the majority of the rest of the world, but I don't think that anybody, especially, not saying that everybody, not anybody, but I reckon at this moment in time, especially the SNP with all the crap that's going on, well, what's been proven, I mean, this is the thing, is anybody getting to see what they're saying in that COVID inquiry as it currently stands? No, you're not getting to see it because mainstream media aren't covering it.
They're not covering it.
Yeah,
no.
And the stuff that's coming out in that just now, people should be kicking off.
Yeah, because we've got experts under the COVID inquiry actually saying we cannot, in any reasonable sense, say that vaccination was a good idea. These vaccines work.
Or lockdowns.
We know that everything that they shouldn't have fucking done, they did.
Yep.
Why? Why did they do it that way? Because there was an opportunity to make fucking money. Let's not kid ourselves. What's now blatantly clear and obvious is that this whole pandemic was not about saving lives. This was not about health.
No.
And it's now clear that this was only and ever about wealth. And it's not your wealth and it's not my wealth. There's a comedian, God rest him, George Carlin. And he said it's their club and they don't want you fucking in it. And that's exactly what we're seeing now, because you're looking at this, what's coming out. You know, if you'd have told me 5 years ago that they'd try and get people to live in 15-minute cities.
I know. 20 minutes in Edinburgh, by the way.
Yeah.
The thing is as well, see anybody that's listening to this, Google Edinburgh 20-minute cities, it's already written up, ready to rock and roll. So for people that say, oh, these two are fucking what? Go and fucking Google it.
Yeah. Go and, you know, do you know what the crazy thing is? See all the conspiracies.
Oh, true.
They've all came true.
A good majority over the minority, by the way.
You know, 5G's dangerous. Well, we're starting to realise that there's an awful lot of stuff out there that we should have been told that we're not getting told.
Well, all they need to do is go and take a radiation test next to one, and you can see the radiation is off the scale.
Why are they not allowed at military bases?
Fuck knows.
Because they interfere with everything. Hello?
Aye.
You know, clearly this whole for the people.
We are in.
You know, people say you go down rabbit holes. Here's the problem. See every rabbit hole I've went down so far.
Fucking true.
There's been a fucking carrot line at the bottom. You know, 15-minute city. Oh, that's nonsense. Well, no, it's true. You know, 5G's a deathly. No, it's true. Vaccines are safe. No, they're not.
Aye, but the other thing I know, one that baffles me completely right now, and again off topic, right? Because like we'll need to wrap this up, but we'll do this again. Trust me, we'll do this again. Depends how long it takes me to bloody edit one of these, right? But anyway, one of the things that, so see when I was stuck in my bed, believing I was dying, right, Alex Jones, that mad bastard, right, he's the only man, and obviously you were on InfoWars, and I knew about it, and you didn't, right, that was hilarious about it, right, I need to get this out, because my brain fog can't. He was speaking about a year ago, right, that this was last January, right, and he was talking about the vaccine, then he was talking about all the transgender stuff. Now, I've not got any issue with transgenders, 100%, I can say that all day, right, but where I do have issues is when they're trying to ram it down children's throats, and they're trying to, children are sponges. A child is a sponge, right? I mean, you could sit and say that wall's white, but you could tell a child at that age is black, right? And that child will believe you. He was speaking about all this transvestites and whatever. I don't know, can you call them that nowadays? I don't even know, right? Transgenders, right? Whatever they are. They were reading children these books, right? And I was sitting there going like, no chance in hell is that ever going to come over to the UK. What's happening right now in Scotland, mate? What's happening at Edinburgh Fringe right now? They have a drag queen story time.
Yeah.
And again, I'll say, do I think it's right? Well, I don't know what's been read, right? I don't know what's been read, but where I don't agree with is it's the way it's dressed. It's dressed like a bloody stripper.
Yes.
Now, and again, I don't like to call it because I'll get called all sorts, right? But anyway, they're reading these kids this stuff, right? Whatever they're reading, I don't know. It might be, but do you have to dress the way you're dressing?
I've got massive problems with a lot of this. We can now clearly see that what's going on with the whole education system, what kids are getting told, and what they're getting taught, and what parents are getting told is being taught seems to be two different things.
Yeah.
I struggle to understand that you've got so many things that you have to wait to the age of 18 to decide.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it all day. I've got tattoos I regret all day, and I get them, first one at 17, second one at 18. I regret those tattoos every single, but not regret them, but I wish I never got them. Right now I look back, you're telling a child at the age of 9, 11, you can start taking these things to change your sex, essentially. At that age, mate, I regret having a tattoo. These kids will never ever be able to return to becoming, if they've went from a boy to a lassie, they can never turn that back.
So I've got to be 18 to do certain things.
Yep.
I've got to be 21 to do certain things. I've got to be 16 to do certain
Yep.
things. Now let's just take the age of voting. So I can vote at the age of 16.
Have they not lowered that?
No.
I don't know, I'm just
I think
guessing.
it's 16. I can get married at the age of 16, but I've got to get a licence for it. But I can decide what sex I am, whatever age I want.
Over your parents, by the way.
You know,
I think they're trying to bring that in. I think they've done that in certain states. The child has more say.
No, this is wrong.
Aye.
This is so wrong. I don't care what sex you are and what you identify as.
No.
I really couldn't care less.
Pronoun things
If
baffles
you're
me.
an adult, and define an adult, I'm talking about, to me an adult is anybody over the 18, because that's what I was brought up with. You have to be 18. You've got to be 18 to drink. You know, so I've got to be 18 to drink. I've got to be 18 to smoke. At the age of fucking 6, I can decide that I'm going to be a girl instead of a boy.
I don't know what age limit is, but
Whatever.
It's too young
You know,
anyway.
it doesn't matter.
Aye.
This is wrong.
And
Children
they don't,
are
and again,
children.
they don't tell them the complications of it in the long run.
What they don't do is they don't explain the full ramifications.
Yeah.
If somebody believes that that's what's right for them, wait to the right age.
And the thing is as well, and again we'll talk all day, the Sandyford Clinic has so many things, right? Has so many court cases, right? And the thing is as well, see a lot of these people that done this at a young age, because there was people doing it before all this, right? See them all, they now regret it, and what some of them come out and say is, see at that age, I was just gay and I was confused. But see the way they speak to them in there, they make them believe that that's the way they be. Again,
we have realised that the nefarious levels people will go to make money.
Yeah.
Because I don't care what anybody says, the cost of all these drugs ain't cheap.
Yep.
So somebody's making fucking money.
This is the thing, right? And again, they talk about a depopulation, right? they're making it very hard for me to not believe that theory.
Yeah.
Reason being, right, you're handing out a vaccine that's killing, injuring people. 100%. I bet you suicides went up the.
Well, we know.
Has went up because there'll be people out there going to the doctor will be telling them.
Combination of lockdowns,
getting
ignored,
right,
vaccine
lockdown and all
damage,
that,
everything.
right. Then you add that with the puberty blockers into kids.
Yeah.
That means the kids can never produce to make more kids in the future. So it's very hard for me not to believe that theory these days.
I'm struggling with an awful lot of this. The conspiracies
it's facts.
Yeah, because funny enough, all the conspiracies that I didn't believe in came true.
Uh-huh.
I didn't believe that a government would do what it's done.
Oh,
to
the
these
aliens
people.
are coming out now.
This nonsense is just a deflection.
Oh, aye, that's what I'm
This
thinking.
is all just a deflection to get away from the fact that everybody's now realising these people are only interested in themselves and not the ordinary people. They don't give a flying fuck about you or I.
Aye.
They couldn't give a flying fuck if I'd rapped Indeed tomorrow. In fact, they'd been much preferred if I'd rapped Indeed tomorrow, because then might be quiet. But you and I are never going to be quiet, mate.
No, you've seen me with a microphone in my hand, fuck's sake.
This is the quietest you've ever been.
Because I need to listen. And this is the thing, if you're doing this, I've realised you need to listen, and vice versa. When you can interview me and I can get my story out, but
I think the next time we do it properly. With questions. We write down the questions.
Nah, fuck that. I prefer it off the cuff.
I like off the cuff, but there's lots of questions.
But this has gone out, so this has gone out.
We should ask, and say, right.
No, well, I can do that with the rest, but with you it's different because
this is a mess about.
Aye, because I'll put this out anyway.
Well, if you think about it, we got to me coming out the hospital.
No, we got to you getting out the hospital, and then we got to you with a newspaper article. But we can touch on more. We can do this again.
We started the journey. Over a year, coming up for 2 years.
Well, when I met you, first time you visited was April. Aye, that video.
I can tell you what day it was. It was the 1st of April.
It was April Fool's, mate.
Because that was the day that I collapsed.
I got you a belter, aye.
That was the day I collapsed.
Aye, I remember you saying.
Exactly a year to the day
aye.
After it.
And every April, something's always happened, isn't it?
Right.
I don't want to get into that one, but aye.
Jesus,
it's always something about April with you now.
I hate them, man.
I know.
I hate them, man.
But, like I said, mate, one thing I'll say to you, I think you've just desensitised yourself to this, to be fair, because you've told the story that much. Like I say, I'm going to interview, I think, more that haven't really done this.
Yeah.
And I've said to them, if you're going to sit down and do this, you really need to think, am I in a good headspace to do this? Am I really, this is a trauma.
You can tell me, phone me, reach out to me.
I've done this plenty of times as well, like telling the story and sitting down. I think the best one we've ever done is James English, but hey, this one might be up there, by the way.
Do you know why the James English one went so well?
Why?
Because it was just 3 guys. That could have been 3 guys for any scheme anywhere in the world.
Aye.
Just chatting about life and shit that happened to them.
Mm.
That's what was so good about that. It was brutally honest and raw.
Aye.
And James allowed us to tell our stories.
Aye, but I mean, I still say to this day, if he could have put it out, I would have changed the narrative overnight.
Yeah.
Easily, especially in Scotland, especially in Glasgow. And the amount of people that, obviously you're different from me, but the amount of people that phoned me and went, John, that's what's happened to me, that's what's happened, and that's the whole point, is me telling the story.
It's to make you aware
It's
that you're not the only person who can through this.
And it's not that.
There'll
be people, there's like, another example as well, there's people out there that are getting diagnosed with this FND.
Aye.
Right? And all these doctors are telling them it's FND, which is a fantastic excuse, mate.
Oh, brilliant.
It's a fantastic excuse for a vaccine injury. So I'm trying to say, there's a young boy, right? I won't get his name in that. Tell you quickly, young boy, took the thing, right? Diagnosed with FND, I don't know, a week or a month later, right? He seen me on TikTok. I was talking to Robert, and we're doing a TikTok live, and then the young boy's like, FND, and he's seen the latest one I done with that. I mean, we've got so much to talk about, really, right? And then he's been like, FND's what I've got, and that, and he went, so I went, message me, spoke to the boy on the phone for ages. I turned round to him and I went, what are they trying to say your FND's doing to? And he says, well, one time, he works in like a factory, and he says, one time a box landed in his head, right? And I went like that, and that's what they're trying to tell you your FND came from, which is functional neurological disorder, by the way. And he said, I says, look, mate, I says, I've done boxing, used to spar 4 or 5 times a week, being in a fight. I says, I've been full-scale volleyed in the head by a guy in the dancing many years ago. And I can tell you right now, I never developed FND back in the day. I says, then I developed...
It didn't exist.
Exactly.
You know, you've suddenly created a fucking illness for a condition that didn't exist.
I get your mic, you.
Oh.
It's just that they get... I try and use the terminology right, because sometimes I still get it wrong, that gaslighting. But it's just... The whole point of doing this is to make more people realise, because everybody's story is different. Like I said, you've had an amputation, I've got heart issues. Exactly. I might look normal to everybody, but you've seen me.
Oh, I've seen you.
You've seen me rise for the ashes, basically. And you know, I've spent. I think last time I counted, it was 40 grand, mate. 40,000. How many people out there can do that?
They can't. That's the thing.
But my frustration is there'll be people probably gone now, hopefully not. But there's people out there that are taking that health went downhill, don't realise what's going on with their health, and then what happens is they've got no help at all. And what did they do, mate? They commit suicide because I remember, again, I'll go into it one day, but remember one time my brain couldn't compute, couldn't sit there, couldn't think. I was just literally in my bed, couldn't move, had the family looking after me, showering me.
Why the fuck am I doing this?
Aye.
Of course it does.
Because I'm very, is it empathetic? Is that the right word?
Aye.
Towards others?
Well, we're all human beings, mate. I mean, when you're put in a very dark place, and it's a very lonely place, and nobody's listening to you, and your health is going downhill, and nobody seems to understand how you're feeling about it and what's going on, it's suddenly shutting down all your options.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, yeah, we've got people that are committing suicide far too regularly.
Yep.
Has it entered my head? Of course it has.
But we've had people that have committed suicide that knew it was the vaccine.
Yeah.
So what about the people that didn't? Because all they needed was an answer to realise what's going on with their health. Because see, as soon as you find out, because remember it took me 2.5 months.
Yeah.
See, when I found out what it was, at least I had something to work with, mate.
You know, that's it. You know, it's just somebody believing in you. Yeah, this could be what it is.
Aye.
I think we're beyond that now. I think we're now at the stage where, as I said, we're now walking about where we're the elephants in the whole fucking world, because
we're
everybody knows we exist.
Aye.
Everybody's talking about us. The general public are all aware of us, and everybody sees that nobody's helping and supporting us. But the government are sitting going the old fucking fingers and ears and covering the eyes in the hope that we're going to go away, like they do with every fucking thing that they do. This is not going to wait 10 years.
Not a chance. It's definitely not, mate. And you know, I say it all the time.
Bring the noise.
Bring the noise.
This cycle of hurting people and fucking off and leaving them, and bringing another product out, hurting people, fucking off and leaving them. It's time to stop that.
This just goes to show you, mate. And I'm with a certain person right now. This SNP, current government's in power right now. I'm telling you right now, you are all losing your credibility. In my honest opinion, in the last 3 years, if it showed us anything at all, mate, it's going to show you your government doesn't give a fuck about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, on that note, Alex, it's been ages. We've had toilet breaks, interruptions. You know, I don't even think we'll get through your story fully, mate. But
we've just touched.
We've just been talking, but
just enjoyed it.
Aye. Anyway, mate.
Pleasure.
Give me that. Boom. Aye, mate, and who knows? We'll definitely do this again.
We'll do some more, and the next time, we'll do one in a couple of months' time, and we'll see.
I won't have time. I'll get busy. I'm going to be busy in the next couple. Listen, I'll get a couple behind me, and what I'll do is I'll start editing them and get them out. But apart from that, just keep doing what we're doing, mate, and we'll bring the noise. And I hope everybody watched. I hope we get a lot of viewers here, by the way.
No, I hope that.
I'm going to try and put it on YouTube, but I fucking doubt it.
I doubt. You'll get about 3 clips.
Aye.
But I think, no, you're right. We've brought the noise. Let's just keep...
Now bring the justice.
Yeah, well, let's keep bringing the noise, and justice will come right behind it.
Perfect, mate. Alright. Thank you very much, Mr. Alex Mitchell, the first living man to receive from the government and the vaccine damage payment scheme, £120,000. Everybody should have heard your story back in April 2021, mate, 100%.
Life would have been a lot easier for a lot of people, including myself.
Could have saved a lot more lives, mate. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you much, everybody. Pleasure.